Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Ahmed Nasir and I will be talking about the importance of clinical lab tests, what we can interpret from those tests, specifically regarding blood tests. Lab tests should only be prescribed when there is an absolute necessity and decision making required in the therapy. These are some terminologies: standard set of limits called normal range. There might be some lab error because of the patient's factors, instruments, or the reagents used. There are unit of measures. Some labs use conventional units and some use standard unit. Hematology derived from the word heme means blood. Hematology lab tests are very important in assessing the blood diseases and classifying those diseases. How is that possible? Because there are different cell types, each plays a defined role and contribute to the homeostatic process. This is an overall cell lineage in blood. There is RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. The very first test that doctors recommend is the complete blood count, CBC. It can measure RBCs and hemoglobin and hematocrit and mean cell volume and all of that. There's this thing called fishbone diagram. It is used to have a rough image of the causes of alterations in the standard limits. If there's an increase in WBCs, there might be some bacterial infection, viral infection. These are the types of WBCs, and this is a mnemonic used to remember it. Never let me eat beans. There's also never let monkeys eat bananas, so it helps you to remember. There might be, if there's an increase or decrease in platelets, might be because of the bleeding or some chemotherapy, etc. This is a unit of measure. The number remains the same. It's only the unit that is altered. And it also gives you an overview what we can assess from the laboratory test that we're going to discuss one by one. Okay, first of all, the red blood cells, erythrocytes. This is the normal limit. There is a slight difference in males and females limit because females lack androgen and there's also bleeding by the menstrual loss. So we can monitor the quantitative changes in RBCs. Hematocrit is the packed cell volume and we compare it with the column of whole blood. If there is a decrease in the lab test in hematocrit, the possible causes might be the bleeding, bone marrow suppressant effects of the drugs, etc. And if there's an increase in hematocrit, maybe because of polycythemia vera, this is a type of cancer in which there is a thick production of RBCs. Next is the hemoglobin, which is the main component of oxygen carrying compound in the RBCs. It is important in diagnosis and monitoring the medical condition. Example, glycosylated hemoglobin, which is used to monitor diabetes mellitus. Next, we'll talk about the, as we said, classification of the disease can be done. Red blood cell indices help us to classify anemias. First of all, there is this mean cell volume. This is the formula, and this is the normal range 76 to 100 microcubic meter. It detects the change in cell size. If you have less cell size, it might be microcytic cell anemia because of iron deficiency. If it is large, it may be macrocytic anemia because of deficiency of vitamin B12 or folate. There can also be a mixed anemia, so there will be no definite change in the size, it will be balanced. Next is the mean cell hemoglobin. It measures the weight of hemoglobin, and in normochromic anemia means when there is a decrease in RBCs but the hemoglobin is remaining constant. Mean cell hemoglobin concentration, it does not measure the weight but concentration of the hemoglobin. Hypochromic anemia is a condition when there is less amount of hemoglobin and it may indicate iron deficiency anemia. Reticulocytes are the immature erythrocytes, and they can be used to assess any hemorrhagic episode or hemolysis, or if we are treating a patient for anemia and we want to check or monitor the progression of the treatment, we can also perform reticulocyte count. Erythrocyte sedimentation rate. The sedimentation rate of the erythrocytes is the indirect assessment of the fibrinogen levels in the blood, and they can be used to assess whether there is an inflammatory process or infection or any tissue necrosis in the body. Okay, another component, white blood cells, the defenders of the body. They are different types. They are of different types: neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, and each perform a specific function. If we talk about the neutrophils first, these are the most abundant type of the WBCs present, and they are increased during the bacterial infection. Not only mature neutrophils but immature neutrophils are also shifted to, it's called a left shift, and it suggests bacterial infection again. A test called absolute neutrophil count. It is important in evaluation of the degree of the disease. If there might be lymphoma, the chemotherapy may cause neutropenia, so we can know the progression of the therapy as well as the disease. If there's a minimum decrease in the neutrophils, it might call neutropenia, then agranulocytosis or profound neutropenia. Other types of white blood cells, lymphocytes that help in immune response, and they are the direct indicators of immune deficiency disorders or viral infections. Then there is this monocytes, they help engulf the foreign antigens, and increased number of monocytes indicate subacute bacterial endocarditis or tuberculosis. Eosinophils helps in allergic reactions. It degranulates the mast cells. Then we have the basophils. They contain histamine, leukotrienes that are increased in the blood in response to any anaphylactic response. Thrombocytes, these are essential to blood clotting, and if we have decreased platelets, the reason may include either there's less production of platelets, there's increased destruction, or there's excessive bleeding. If you have increased platelets, it might be because rheumatoid arthritis, iron deficiency anemia, or polycythemia vera, which was again the type of blood cancer. Coagulation studies are very important to assess the healthy blood clotting process in the body. First is the prothrombin time. Prothrombin time measures the activity of clotting factors, and there's a reference range of 10 to 12 seconds. What we do is we take the blood and centrifuge it, separate the blood plasma, add any of the tissue factor that we want to measure or assess, and add that tissue factor and measure the seconds. Related to prothrombin time is the international normalized ratio. It is used to monitor the effectiveness of the anticoagulation therapy, usually by warfarin, and it's just a ratio of the patient's prothrombin by the standard prothrombin time. Next is the another important is the activated partial thromboplastin time. There is no need to centrifuge the sample in this. We just take the blood sample in a vial, add some chemical reagent, and measure the seconds it takes for the blood to clot. The control ranges from 35 to 45 seconds. Okay. We have a patient, 58 years old, who is chronic alcoholic and after a bar fight is hospitalized and RBC indices were assessed. We can see that MCV is increased, the normal range is up to 100 microcubic meter. MCH, which is also increased, 33 picograms is the standard limit. MCHC, although is under the limit, 33 to 37 grams per deciliter. From this picture or image, we can say that the patient might be having macrocytic anemia. There might be two causes for that. The patient may be is likely to have dietary folic acid deficiency, or because of alcoholism, there might be hematotoxicity because alcohol and its metabolite acetaldehyde both causes alterations in the RBCs. What is the plan? First of all, we go for non-pharmacological modification, that is the diet modification. We increase the intake of red meat, chicken, and leafy vegetables. We might give folic acid supplements. If the patient is unable to absorb the supplements, we can also give injections. Then, obviously, we'll try to reduce the alcohol intake. And if there is severe anemia, we might also have to consider bone marrow suppressants. So, bone marrow examination is recommended. That's all. Thank you.